As you guys know, Gina Carano is kind of always calling out Disney when she can. You know, she got screwed by them several years ago, but Disney shows a whole bunch of hypocrisy when it comes to how they enforce their views on what actors who work with them say. She recently called out Disney because Jack Black was in episodes of The Mandalorian, and obviously he has gone through his own tumultuous time recently because of comments made by his bandmate in Tenacious D. Yeah. They have since suspended touring, but she didn't just do that. I think a week ago or 2 weeks ago, she also called out Mark Ruffalo for doing very much the same thing, and it's all just it feels like it's the song remains the same, right? Two-tier justice system, as they say.
So this was Jack Black's bandmate Kyle Gass making an incitement to violence during their concert after Trump's assassination attempt. So Gina tweeted, would Lucasfilm or Disney like to comment on one of their actors on The Mandalorian promoting or at the very least not backing down and calming the actual abhorrent rhetoric on stage about the assassination attempt failing to kill President Trump? Or is calling for peace between neighbors like I did the only values you at Disney find abhorrent, and like making dangerous statements towards your female cast members to broadcast out to Hollywood, press, and world? Not this one, though, right? Or last week's Mark Ruffalo comment, or all the ones we have well documented before. What was Mark Ruffalo's comment?
It's in the article here, too, as well. So he did kind of this. It's almost in the same vein here, so I'm going to put it up on screen.
No, it's the exact same thing.
It's the exact same thing here. So here it is. So this was from Vincent. Somebody posted this on July 1st. Says, this is in relation to the immunity, the Trump's immunity, the thing that happened in the Supreme Court, right? So it says, March 1933, the Enabling Act becomes law in Germany, giving the chief executive power enforce his own laws without checks and balances. The passing of the act marked the formal transition from democratic republic to totalitarian dictatorship. Say that 10 times fast. 6 months later, it was a one-party state. And Mark Ruffalo just put, just for the record, history is repeating itself.
Thank you, Mark Ruffalo, for your
deep political
incisive political analysis. Like, obviously, all of these actors make politicized statements, but the Daily Beast even put out an article about Jack Black's debacle saying, Tenacious D proves cancel culture is just for libs. It would be right if they meant only libs weaponize cancel culture, but they're trying to say that that cancel culture is only weaponized against libs.
Living in a different dimension.
Well, also what it is what everybody else has is like 4 more years or 8 more years of people having to rebuild their career. So the fact that Louis C.K. had to like rebuild his career proves that it doesn't exist. The point is he shouldn't have had to rebuild his career, and he's just one example. Like I don't know, because that wasn't proven in a court of law, but there's endless examples. Roseanne should not have had to rebuild her career or shift to another revenue stream because she made some comments on Ambien back in 2014 or whenever it was that she said that, 2017.
Yeah, I think as far as the context is concerned with Gina Carano, this was the exact same thing. I know we often have these short memories, but the whole reason why obviously they were just using it to weaponize against Gina Carano. They weren't really mad at it. But the point was, she shared the story, and there was basically this meme, if you will, that essentially said that, governments, and she was right, obviously, all along, but it essentially said the governments are able, or in Nazi Germany, they were able to basically do what they did because they were able to turn citizens against one another.
It's on the screen there if people want to read what it was. And one of the ways that they get away with this is they say that she said something abhorrent and they never actually link to what she said.
That's the whole point. They rely on the idea that you won't go look up anything. So it's just like you just repeat it and they'll be like, oh, she's a racist. And you'd be like, prove it. And then they'll just malfunction. But the reason that they put out a public statement for out against this, basically saying that, well, comparing things in that era, you just can't do. Meanwhile, that's exactly what Mark Ruffalo just did. But as she did with this whole lawsuit situation, and there's a lot of people that were in our corner of the internet have been doing, you don't even have to look that far. Pedro Pascal likened half of the voting population to the people under Funny Mustache Man in Germany. This isn't just he just works for Disney.
They were
He was
co-stars
on the same show.
Yeah, I mean, it was just like a cameo, sort of. So not a mainstay of the show.
No,
like
he's
No,
Pedro
Pedro
Pascal,
Pascal.
not-
Pedro
Oh, okay,
Pascal.
okay.
Pedro
Yeah, yeah,
Pascal is the star of the show, on the same show. And he compared that era. Nothing happened to him.
His
right?
career didn't get hurt. His career has flourished.
Yes, he's in
one of the
everything.
biggest-
Everybody's tired of him now because he's everywhere.
They're just like, he's the generic guy you hire now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you need a generically inoffensive person? Here, hire him. Because
But
nobody
what's-
knows that he said that
Like,
stuff.
what's the good in just pointing out that there's a double standard?
Well, they
If
don't
we don't
care
have
about
the
that.
power to
Sometimes
do
that's all-
anything about it. Is that all that we can do?
No, well, this is the thing, and this is the unfortunate thing, and this is, I'm not trying to get grim or dark or be a doomer at all, but I'm just being honest, right?
Yeah.
And I know there's a big conversation happening right now with this sort of council culture being on the other foot. The left pointing out the hypocrisy does you no good. They will contradict themselves from something they advocated or something they said yesterday, because that's not anything that they value. That's something we generally value. So really, you're just speaking to the choir when you say, oh, they're hypocrites. You're not going to win any of them over on that. You'll win maybe other people that are on your side, and they'll march you still to the gulag.
Power is the only thing they value, right?
They
That's
don't
why
care about hypocrisy. That's not anything they care about.
when I do IRL, a lot of times what I point out is like the channel. It's one of the greatest Instagram channels is Defiant L's, which posts all the people who contradict themselves. It doesn't matter because they don't care. 99% of the time,
It's not
they're
something they
completely
value.
happy to do that, right?
Yeah.
Because they understand. And this is one of the things that I talk to you about a lot now. It's like truth matters on the ideological level. On the moral level, truth matters. In the age of the internet, it isn't valued by society anymore because none of it is real to the average person. When you go online and you post something and 10,000 people see it, maybe 5,000 of those people look further and find more information and find out that what you said is false. Maybe 1,000 of those remember what you said in the first place and hold that against you. The other 5,000 people go on now believing that what you said was true because they have no reason otherwise to believe that it's fake. And if somebody only values power, and it's insane that you have to have this conversation about companies that are supposed to be making entertainment, but it's true. It's true. They connect in that way, and these people, for all the entertainment that they make, are political people. Or at least they love to delve into it on Twitter. That what matters to them is power, and contradicting themselves and telling you something that isn't true doesn't matter as long as it pushes through what they want you to believe.
Well, you have to be morally sound, ethically sound, in order to value not being a hypocrite, right?
Yep.
They don't value that at all. What they have actually historically done is that they will use it's like what they're doing right now, right? Some people have lost their jobs for basically advocating for the assassination of Donald Trump, right? And now you have, because they know people on our side value not being hypocrites, they say, wait a minute, this is what you've been speaking up against, even though this is not anything they care about. They're trying to weaponize your own ideology against you because it's something you value. This is what the left does so well. They don't care. It's like they say, oh, well, you're not a good Christian or something like that, even though they may be full-blown atheists. They do not care about any of that. They're just trying to weaponize how you feel and your set of morals against you. So this is a difficult enemy to combat, right? Because what a lot of folks on our side have convinced themselves, and they've been wrong all the time, is that they can fight fair with people that fight dirty, right? And you can't do that. And that's the conversation that I would really like to have with people on our side is when are we willing to accept, okay, well, these people play dirty, right? Yeah. So if I enter into the boxing ring, people that watch me all the time know I use this analogy all the time. I know that the person I'm about to fight has bought off the referees. They've bought off the judges, right? They've loaded their gloves. Hell, they told me before the night before that I'm loading my gloves
Plaster
up, right?
on the gloves,
and if I go into that, I'm not honorable if I fight them fair. I'm not honorable. I'm stupid. That's what I am.
This is a real discussion.
It has to be had.
Me and Bertman were having this discussion on Wednesday when we were talking about I genuinely don't know how I feel about Home Depot lady losing her job.
You feel bad. It's It feels weird. But in the same respects, again, the playing field, I accept both positions, right? And I'm not trying to say I have a centrist position. I'm just, again, but the rules have been set by them.
Yeah.
That was the standard that they wanted us to live by, and that's the standard that they're going to continue to live by, have us live by. So while I recognize that that's pretty screwed up, right? When I see someone like in Home Depot losing their job for anything, but they would have absolutely zero problem against getting someone else from Home Depot. Let's say if it was someone that had the complete opposite position that worked for Home Depot. Let's say that they cheered on the assassination of, I don't know, a bot or something like that. You think they wouldn't be happy to get him up out of there, right? So that's what I'm saying. It's like, how do you fight that person? I'm not saying I have all the answers, because I don't, but I'm saying, how do you combat that ideologically when you know that, you know, you feel a little dirty, right? When something like that happens, or if you kind of participate in the same or similar culture, but you know that your enemy has no problem using that tactic against you.
And the average person, I think what it is if you're somebody like me who you just think, look, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm not going to lose any sleep. Do I agree with it? I don't know. I would have to kind of look deeper at who I am as to how I feel about all this and how I feel about the culture war in general. But I'm not going to lose any sleep over it because I've seen it happen too much going the other direction. The other thing that you can say to yourself is, look, if you entertain the question at all, the morality of the question at all, you're probably on a better footing than a lot of the people on the other side mentally, right? If you're still asking the question, is what's going on ethical? Even if it's not you doing it, if you're entertaining the question of the ethics of these things happening, you're at least interfacing with yourself enough to worry about it, and that matters.
I think that's a great point, and that's what our side will generally do versus the authoritarian left. But like I said, I've long accepted that these are dirty. I mean, this Gina Carano thing shows us, right, how dirty these people are and how they don't care about fairness. They don't care about what's just or anything like that. They want you broke, and in some cases, they want you worse than that. And they have no problem admitting that. And I think this is something that we have to accept. And that's how it's so difficult to especially combat the left culturally, because they're willing to do what it takes to win. Meanwhile, people that are generally on our side, we like try to think it through, right? We want to reason with it. We want to see if this is just. We want to see if this is morally acceptable. Whereas to them, they're like, I don't care if it's morally acceptable. I don't care how mad it makes you that we want you broke or dead. We'll make you broke and dead, and we'll advocate for that, and we'll be open about it. And it's a hard enemy to combat.
By the time you're done entertaining all of those questions to yourself, they've covered more ground.
Yep.
Yeah. It's and it's sad that these discussions have to happen about entertainment companies, but they connect, right? Because look, Obama owns a production company. Like the politics and the entertainment industry are inextricably linked now in more ways than just the storytelling. So what these corporations are doing, there's a reason why I always point out, like, the reason it's easy for me to be so angry towards politicians is because I feel the same way about politicians, the same way I feel about corporations. I can be angry at a corporation for advocating for these types of positions a lot more than I can an individual. An individual is flawed, and I can offer grace to an individual. I refuse to do that for a corporation that could make that turn or make that change at any time.
Okay. Yeah, the issue with the Home Depot employee is more complex because it is just an ordinary person. And I know that they would throw an ordinary person under the bus if the situation were reversed. But I can see that Gina Carano posted about this because she is currently, mounting all of her evidence of people who have been employed by Disney Lucasfilm so that she can win this lawsuit. And I wanted to know if you think she has a chance.
Man, if it was a just place, but also, I mean,
with Elon's backing,
I mean, that
definitely helps.
It for sure helps, but it's tough, man. I mean, obviously, objectively, it was unfair. And I would even, it's funny, we're sitting there having this argument about morals. And I think I'm a ANCAP. Yeah. I think companies should be able to fire you for whatever reason, top to bottom. Like, I don't care for what if they didn't like the way your face was that day, unless you had something in the contract that you engaged with them that says, well, they can't do that. That's a completely different thing. But as far as, them parting ways with you, they should be able to do that for whatever reason that they want. So I hate that we're even having this discussion on discrimination and all that stuff in the workplace, though I might think that it's wrong, per se. The fact that the government has to be the one to try to sort this out, I don't like that at all. But again, going back to winning, right? It's funny, we can have this conversation again. It's like, well, left certainly ain't got no problem suing people over discrimination by any means, and they will certainly do that even when it's not there. Is Gina playing to win?
Yeah. Might be, yeah.
She's kind of like in the same way that Johnny Depp and Amber Heard became a proxy war for men and women. She's become a proxy war for like the culture war as it relates to entertainment, in a way.
Yeah, I brought that up because she also quote tweeted Mark Hamill, who recently posted this still from the RNC where Trump has his eyes closed during prayer.
This is my point.
He said that Trump was sleeping during the RNC, which is obviously untrue.
Do you see what I mean? This
Yes.
is my point. Truth doesn't matter to them.
Gina quote tweeted him saying, "It's called praying, Mark. Trump was closing his eyes in prayer. The man was just shot a few days ago, almost losing his life, and another man took that bullet and died protecting his family. What happened to all that talk about spreading misinformation? Just doesn't count when you do it. Rules for thee and not for me." She continued, "It really makes you wonder what the deep state has on you for you to have your head so permanently jammed up their ass to where all you've become is their walking, talking piece of dung. Have you enjoyed all your political free speech and Hitler analogies without any repercussions the past 8 years? Don't worry, we have them all saved. Strange you weren't canceled or called out for any of it. I wonder if that time is fast approaching for you."
I don't think that you have to have. I don't think the deep state has to have anything on you to just have lame political opinions. I think that's just.
No, he just has lame political opinions. But her point is that the enforcement is not equal across the board, and this is more evidence that she's going to be using in her lawsuit.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.